know that feeling, the one where your heart is pounding, your blood is boiling, and you know deep down you are about to do something you might regret, but it's the only thing that feels right. That was me, standing there amidst a pack of my coworkers, cooks, dishwashers, veterans, newbies who were all huddled, ready to perform a birthday ritual, except this was no celebration. This was a sonic attack, a public execution of arrogance. This is the story of how an entitled server from our sister location walked into my restaurant, tried to destroy a good man's confidence, and walked out without her job. All because we sang loudly. If you have ever had your blood pressure spike because of an arrogant coworker or a power-tripping customer, hit that like button right now. This is for all of us who have dreamed of serving justice ice cold. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and get ready for a story of sweet, eardrum-shattering payback. To understand the magnitude of what happened that night, you need to understand the restaurant. This wasn't some chain with a million locations. This was a classic, word-of-mouth place. The kind that prided itself on service, on reputation, and on treating people right. That detail, it's critical. The year was 2015. I was knee-deep in nursing school, working as a waitress to pay the bills. And I wasn't just a waitress. I was the reliable one. Although I wasn't officially a trainer, I was the anchor for anyone new to the team fresh out of orientation. Enter Mark. Mark was one of the new geese, older than me, maybe early 40s, slightly shy, a little awkward, the kind of guy who took his job seriously, maybe too seriously. His first night with his own fully section, and you could practically smell the fear and determination mixed with the smell of sizzling garlic. My section was right next to his, a perfect safety net. I knew this night was going to be tough, but I was ready for it. I was ready for spilled drinks, wrong orders, the typical first night chance. What I wasn't ready for was her. She rolled in with her round table of 6, a group of 20-somethings, and she was clearly the ringleader. Instantly, the atmosphere shifted. On Mark's first trip back to me, his face was pale. "They want a chicken wrap," he whispered, his eyes wide with confusion. "She says the other location makes it all the time, but it's not on the menu." The first red flag. It's a classic power play. Demand something off menu, something custom, just to see if you can break the server. My immediate instinct was to teach Mark to stand his ground, but the truth is, a first night on your own is not the time for a confrontation. "Go ask the back line," I told him, giving him a gentle push. "If they can do it, great. If not, it'll take the heat." The kitchen obliged. But that simply was all the key she needed. From that moment on, she owned him. Every time Mark dropped off a drink, a bread basket, or a plate, the leader, let's call her the antagonist, snapped her fingers and demanded the next thing. Non-stop. No kindness, zero apology. Her entire goal was to keep him in a state of hyper-vigilance, to break his rhythm and his spirit. I watched it unfold, my frustration building into a slow, solid rage. I started running interference, slotting his other tables into my service cycle so he could dedicate his entire existence to her relentless demands. This is why I was paired with him. I caught him in a server station. He looked like a deer staring into headlights, exhausted, defeated, and convinced he was failing. "Bravely, Mark," I said, trying to inject some calm into my voice. "Look at your other tables. They are happy. That table is the problem, not you. They're just being awful. Don't worry about the tip from them, okay?" But it wasn't just the tip. It was the feeling of being completely and utterly ineffective. He was trying his best, and it wasn't good enough for her. She had stolen his confidence, piece by demanding piece. They were at the last table in our section. The clock ticked past closing time, and finally Mark came to me with the kill shot. He had the check presenter in his hand, and his face was etched with a new layer of confusion and shame. "Sure, she needs an employee discount," he mumbled, glancing nervously towards the corner table. "And she says there are multiple birthdays, so she needs a free cake for everyone." An employee discount and multiple cakes. That's when the truth, the sheer, unadulterated audacity spilled out. He told me that she had spent the entire meal not just being demanding, but actively berating him. She told him two things: she was a trainer at our other location. He was the worst waiter she had ever seen. A trainer. This wasn't just a rude customer. This was a fellow employee. Someone who should understand the job, the stress, the pressure, and the absolute need for teamwork and respect. Instead, she had weaponized her assumed authority to tear down a new hire in the most vicious, humiliating way possible. My blood didn't just boil. It turned to molten lava. I wanted to march over there, grab the chair she was sitting in, and flip the entire table. The injustice, the betrayal, the sheer cruelty inflicted on poor, nervous Mark. But I paused. I looked at Mark's broken expression, and I knew. This called for something bigger than a simple confrontation. This called for a reckoning. I put a hand on his shoulder. "Prep the cakes," I instructed, my voice deadly calm. "Just don't drop them yet. I'll handle the discount, and I will gather the chore for the song." Our managers, they were the best. They had our backs, which is a treasure in the restaurant world. I marched straight to the front end. Boss, I said, leaning in. "We have a situation. Our server from the other location is pulling rank, demanding stacked employee discounts, and has spent the entire night humiliating a new guy, telling him he's the worst she's ever seen. Remember that word-of-mouth reputation? Our boss took that cruelty personally. Her behavior didn't just hurt Mark, it hurt the restaurant's soul. I asked for permission to do what I wanted to do." My boss lips curved into a smiley smile I rarely saw, reserved only for moments of justified, righteous fury. He not only gave permission, but he also grabbed the employee numbers she'd supplied, which, as a trainer, she would have known could not be stacked, and told me, "I have a boss-to-boss phone call to make." I ran. I was a lightning bolt. I grabbed every veteran's closing servers, they guy sweeping the floor, even the dishwasher, and gave them the speed-run explanation of the antagonist's cruelty and the plan. We were going to sing. We were going to make sure this trainer was truly celebrated. I gave Mark the nod. He looked bewildered, but ready. The table, tucked into the corner, watched as the parade approached. It wasn't just a few servers. It was the largest group that the restaurant had ever assembled for a birthday song. A massive crew of grinning, ecstatic, vengeance-fueled employees. We placed the free cakes in front of every single seat. The antagonist had that smug, satisfied smirk on her face. She thought she had won. She thought she had broken Mark, scored free dessert, and walked away with a huge discount. We lined up, we took a deep breath, and then we sang. We didn't just sing the standard song. We didn't whisper it. We screamed it, as loud as humanly possible. Our restaurant had a special, slightly longer version, and we stretched it out every single note. The noise bounced off the corner walls, multiplying the audio assault. The smugness evaporated instantly. The antagonist and her friends jumped. Their hands shot up to their ears, their smiles twisted into horrified grimaces. We kept going. Louder. We were a unified wall of joyful, righteous noise, destroying their eardrums, their dignity, and their ability to pretend they were enjoying this. It hurt my ears, and I was singing. That pain is a memory I still cherish. It was the moment they realized they weren't being celebrated. They were being ridiculed by the entire staff. They were the punchline. But the screaming was just the warm-up. While we were conducting our sonic revenge, the boss was in his office. He called the general manager of the entire company. Her employee number, her awful behavior, it was all laid bare. The kind of toxic arrogance that destroys morale and reputations, especially at a word-of-mouth place, was not tolerated. As her shocked group finally paid their full-price bill, no stacked discount, no discount at all, the front-end manager stopped her at the host stand. He handed her the office phone. I watched her face crumble. I watched her start to cry and stammer out excuses for her behavior. But it was too late. The phone call had been made. The general manager already knew. The reckoning was complete. I don't know what happened to her next. She could have begged her way back, but I know what happened that night. An entire staff stood up for an underdog. A manager refused to tolerate cruelty, and justice was served, hot and loud, with a side of free birthday cake. If this story satisfied that little thirst for justice in your soul, smash that like button. What is the most satisfying revenge you have ever witnessed? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, subscribe for more stories just like this one. Until next time, always stand up for the quiet ones. That they are the ones worth fighting for.